Hey everyone, my name is the Theme Park Evangelist. If you watched my earlier vlog today, then you'll know that I went to the first Kentucky Publix, which is in Louisville, Kentucky at Terra Crossing Boulevard. It's a little over an hour away, closer to an hour and a half, but still better than driving a little over 4 hours and going to Pigeon Forge just to go to Publix. So I cannot complain. And if I'm ever out in Louisville, or if I'm ever going out to the Louisville Zoo and I'm craving like a public sub, or if I'm just going out to Louisville in general, then you better believe that I'm going to stop at Publix on my way back, since it's right there anyway. So anyhow, the main reason why I started this vlog up in the first place, and I apologize about how dark it is. I'm gonna do my best to get as much light as I can, which I might have to turn on another light, so give me a minute. You have to forgive me, it gets a little dark in here sometimes. This is the darkest room in the whole house, especially with that light being out now. Anyway, I'm doing this vlog because I was going to talk about my third month anniversary with Katie. And I always seem to do these vlogs right around the time that either A, Katie is on her way here, or B, when she's here. In this case, she's on her way here. So she had to work today, unfortunately, and she could not go with my parents and I out to Louisville, Kentucky, as unfortunate as it is. And I will have to definitely take her back out there again sometime, and maybe my brother Jonathan can come. Now, next Sunday, on the other hand, I'm going to actually take my brother to my job, Perfect North Slopes, for his very first time, and we're going to go snow tubing. So I think that will be very exciting. And hopefully, Lord willing, the weather should be nice enough because neither of us have snow tubed in a very long time. I'm trying to make this year about doing stuff I haven't done in a very long time. And as you'll kind of see with my YouTube channel this year, I am going to stay true to my word about that. But in the meantime, so with my third month anniversary, I don't have my phone here because it's charging. It finally needed charging, but that was in September, of course. And I'm gonna have to cheat here and pull up my Google account so I can remember exactly what we did for, you know, third month anniversary. Because I'm like, oh dear, I don't remember now. Here we go. Google Photos. Excuse me, go to Google Photos. Yes. And this will help me. I wish I could show you guys these photos, but without my phone being here and without the proper technology, it's just like, it's a little hard. I'm just putting that out there. Just putting that out there. So we're still dealing with a really nasty storm while I'm waiting. And storm literally just arrived like yesterday. I can still kind of hear the wind out there. It's not as bad now as it was earlier, but we've had some pretty bad winds. The temperature has significantly gone down. Anyway, so oh yes, if I remember correctly, around the time that Kitty and I celebrate our 3 month anniversary was right around the same time that Her parents came to visit. But first, I am going to mention something about work related, but it's nothing bad or anything. So, first of all, Katie and I got invited to try out the new carousel of the our journey of the animals carousel at the Ark Encounter, and that was back in August of 2022. Well, we had wanted to do it together, but unfortunately, because Answers in Genesis had prearranged for all the employees to go ride it on the clock, there was no way of the two of us going together until another day. So there was one day that both of us happened to get out early, and I had told Katie, "Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and bring a change of clothes. Why don't you do the same thing?" Well, Katie kind of forgot, so she ended up going in her uniform, but she did at least take off her skirt and she went in her shorts. And I did get at least one picture of her in her uniform. I mean, I have a few, but not a lot or anything. And then I remember the very first time I ever took her to Kings Island. She absolutely loved it. At first, I thought it was kind of weird introducing her to Kings Island, but she ended up falling in love with it a lot more than I expected. But this was back when we were first starting to date. It was like, well, I think she might like it. So it was back in August, if I'm not mistaken, and it was during the summer, so it was nice and hot. And this was back before Katie was comfortable about wearing a tank top around me or anything. So we did the carousel, of course, and took her up into the Eiffel Tower. So that was kind of neat. And then a little later on, Katie and I did actually celebrate our legit, whatever you call it. Let me actually find out which date this was on. I'm trying to remember exactly when we took this picture. Oh, oh yeah. So we actually did go back and we did celebrate our actual 2 month anniversary, because even though we did technically do something special, we wanted to do like a dinner. So Katie was like, let's go back to where we celebrate our um, first date. So not to the Newport Aquarium. I don't know if I mentioned it in my first date with Katie vlog, but my brother had made these arrangements for us to eat at this one restaurant, and not only was it too expensive, it was gluten free. And then Jonathan, my brother, was like, "Well, oh, change of plans. We're gonna go somewhere else." So my brother ended up prearranging for us to go to some Italian restaurant right there in downtown Newport, Kentucky, which where they're actually putting a Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville, believe it or not. And Katie and I end up having our first date in there, and we ended up going back there later on. Now, I don't remember the name of the Italian restaurant out the top of my head, but I'm sure if I asked Katie, "Hey, do you remember the name of the Italian restaurant?" she probably would remember. But it was kind of nice. It was, neat going back there again with her. It was one of those dates where we were both just dressed casually. We were just enjoying each other. So then a little later on, near the end of the month, Katie's parents drove all the way up here from Eastern North Carolina. And I took some time off, not too much or anything. The very first thing I ever did with them, they invited me to go to Cracker Barrel with them for breakfast. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of amazing things I absolutely love about Katie's parents, but there's also some things that's like, I just want to pull my head out, but let's not talk about that kind of thing, because I don't want to put them down on the internet or anything. And that's as far as I'm going to go. But it was really nice. They treated me to a breakfast. I mean, I try to pay for it because they're constantly buying stuff for Katie and I. They're so generous and they're so giving. It's just like, I understand they have money, but at the same time, I love to be independent, and I understand that this is just their way of showing Katie and I that they love us. And I meant a lot that they just let me buy whatever I wanted for breakfast, and they paid for it. It's just like, wow, that kind of thing. And then a little later into the trip, um, my parents came up with the idea of introducing them to a restaurant called Whiskey's Family Restaurant in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, which is ironically only 5-10 minutes away from where Katie's currently living. So we all met there for dinner one night. Once again, we were all dressed up pretty casually, and we did take a family photo there. Unfortunately, there was one day that I did have to work, but I still was able to go to church with them. So we all went to our church together. Well, Katie and I's church, which is called Grace Fellowship Church. And then Katie came up with the idea, oh, let's introduce my parents to El Jalisco, which is right outside the Ark Encounter. Don't pay attention to him. He's grouchy, I guess. So we all ate at El Jalisco. We literally had just enough time to eat there, and then um, Katie and her parents went off to the Ark. Now this was back when the Ark and the museum were still open on Sundays, during all the time, like year round, except for during the winter, of course. And then I got to work early, and that was the one day they ironically put me in the camel stand. That was like a really easy day. So her parents and Katie, of course, came by just to take a picture of me, and they came by to see me, which I thought was really, really nice. And, I really did appreciate that a lot. Um, well, now there were days when I couldn't really do anything with them, but um, I still wanted to point out stuff that they did, which I thought was really neat. Because one thing I love about Katie's parents is the fact that they're always really big about going on new adventures. Like I mentioned last August, yeah, that's right, last August. Um, Katie's father and I went out to Indianapolis, and honestly, if I ever get a chance to go back out there again, I would definitely vlog it. It was a really neat experience. I really enjoyed being out there, and it was kind of neat and scary at the same time being out in this big city and trying. But it was also cool because I got to try a new pizza for the very first time too. And ironically, Katie's father and I had the same pizza at the same exact time. Like, how coincidental is that, right? But while Katie was with her parents, they took her back to the Ohio River. They took her to the Louisville Mega Caverns. They took her back to one of Katie and I's favorite places called Churchill Downs. Once again, back in Louisville. See, we like to go to Louisville. I mean, it's not just to go to Publix. There's more to it than that. And then we had another day where all four of us went to. So there's four, and her family, and there's four. And there's five in my family. I don't know how that happened, but okay. And Lauren Talley had just happened to be at the Ark Encounter, and I had just seen Lauren Talley that summer in Pigeon Forge, and then she was at the Ark Encounter in Williamstown, Kentucky, that summer. So sorry, that August. So within just a couple of months, or within a month, I should say. So Dan and Jenny drove all the way up, Katie's parents, excuse me, and um, I bought us VIP seating. I personally did, to have front row seating for Lauren Talley. So we had an entire day at the Ark Encounter, and we saw Lauren Talley. And even Katie even got to feed the camels, which I thought was so neat. I even got a really cute picture of Katie and her parents at the Lauren Talley concert. Um, got an even nice picture of Katie and her mom at the Lauren Talley feeding the camel as well. I'm trying to figure out exactly where this picture is, but I'm sure it was taken while they were her parents are visiting. I'm very sure this one was taken while they were here as well. I'm just looking back. Oh, actually, this was not while they were here. So there was one day that Katie was like, "Man, I really love David's Stitch on Bother shirt." This was back when I was a little thinner. Well, not by much though. And she went and got herself the same thing. Then she ended up losing it. Like, go figure, right? And not even a little later on. I mean, this was not too much later, but still around that 3 month anniversary time frame. Katie decided, I'm gonna go finally get my Kentucky driver's license. And I mean, it was long overdue. So I was like, you know what? I'm free. I'm gonna come with you, and I'm gonna help you get it. And then we went miniature golfing. I don't try to remember though if we went that day or what. Yeah, we actually went that day. So we went back to her place. We changed, and well, at least she did, and we went to Florence World to golf, and we played a round of miniature golf with each other. Now, here's one I'm trying to figure out if this was. Oops. See, I gotta quit doing that. Okay, this was not too much later, but I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about it. Then I will refresh everybody's memories later in another the 4 month anniversary vlog. So we have close friends Philip and Jeanette, and they um, live actually over by Kinman Farms in Burlington, Kentucky, and they often like to invite us over to their place. Like right now is not a good time because they're dealing with major illness in the family, so right now is not a good time for us to contact them about that kind of stuff. But they often like to invite us over for dinner and just to sit by the fire and just talk and share what's going on with our lives. But yeah, that's Katie calling me. Excuse me while I answer that. Sorry about that. That was just Katie letting me know where she was and how much longer she was going to be. So yeah, there's been there was just quite a bit of stuff that happened between our 2 month anniversary to our 3 month anniversary. I mean, that's one thing that you don't take into account whenever you're in a relationship. It's like there's so many things that happen, and of course I'm only discussing the good things. I mean, knows what else happened? I mean, well, I know, but it's nothing for me to discuss on YouTube. But every single thing that happened, good or bad, between Katie and I is what strengthened us to be who we are today. And I know I have friends down in Florida who don't think that my relationship is going to last, or who think that um, I'm not as serious about Katie as I say I am. Well, my best advice for you guys is every challenge that Katie and I face together, every good thing that we go through together helps us to get stronger where we are today. I mean, just going with her to Florida really strengthened my relationship with her. And I know this is going to sound silly, but even me just going down to Florida by myself is going to strengthen my relationship with her. And she might be like, how is that going to strengthen our relationship? And the reason why is because it's going to prove to, by her being willing to be away from me, is going to prove to me that she can function without me. And I want her to prove it to me not just once, but twice. And that's when she goes home in April. And I want her to work on some things on herself when she goes home. And I want her to prove to me that she can do things on her own without having to run to me for help. I want her to And this is the one time I do agree with her father that she needs to figure things out on her own. I can't always be there to save her and solve her problems. And that's kind of why I want her to have some independence from me, because I can't always be there to save the day, if that makes any sense. But anyways, being in a relationship has a lot of great aspects about it, but also has its, downfalls too. But it really just depends on how you look at it. So I have been invited to um, a football party tomorrow. The playoffs are tomorrow afternoon, I guess. I was originally going to work tomorrow, but then I got scheduled at the Croatia Museum next Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., which would have put me at working tomorrow all the way through Saturday, and then having, of course, Sunday and Monday off. Because I'm not this coming Monday, but the following Monday, I have a dentist appointment. I took the whole entire day off. So, yeah, um, I am taking a 3 day weekend off just this one time to be ready for a 6 day work week. But then I'm taking 2 days off and going back to work again Tuesday through Friday. And then I have also offered to come in on Saturday if needed. Maybe Sunday, I don't know. But I guess I will see what happens. And then we'll just take it 1 week at a time. But we're getting closer to February. We're getting a lot closer to the trip to Florida, and getting that much closer to showing you guys all the cool stuff there is to do in Central Florida um, when I go back. So, in the meantime, I will see you guys in the next vlog. And always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great night. Peace out.